Here I'm going to focus on some of the features within Web Success Insights that you can use in a way that Google Analytics can't. At a very basic level, you get a dashboard and it shows you how many visitors you've had within a certain time period, and you can change that to any date range that you want to, and it will update the figures there. You get a view of certain things. For those people interested in identifiable companies, it will show those. For those who want to look at individual paid ads, keywords and what happened to those, you can do those. I'll quickly go into one of those here. What it will do is it will update and it will show every individual visitor who used that particular keyword, in this case from Google Ads, and what they did on the website page by page. And this is going back in time. So these are people that have just looked at one page after clicking through. And if people did look at more than one page, you can see that in there. You can also look at more results on a page. Just going to find some that are there. And actually, if you wanted to do this quickly, you could actually look at the people who looked at least 2 pages, say, or at least 2 page views. So that was somebody who refreshed the same page again there. So this one, for example, here is someone who came in from that keyword, landed on that page, got to the thank you page, which means that they filled in a form, and then they went somewhere else on the website, and that was it. That's a very basic level of what you can do. You could, for example, be interested in all visitors, everything. It will go and it will look at the past week and it will show us every visitor that went to the website during that time. In fact, I need to change that filter back to a minimum of 1 page. So you got all the visitors where they came from. So this one's Facebook. This one was Facebook, where they landed. If they went to more than 1 page, it will show you that in here. What you can also do is you can get into, you can look at things like the entry pages. So let's say we're interested in all the people who landed on a particular page. Let's go with this one and look at the detail related to that page. It updates that information and what they did when they came into the website. If they can be identified by geolocation, which in the case, this is relevant for this one, then it will show you where they actually were at that time as well. Now what you can also do is we can look not just at the pages that people landed on, the pages that people got to at any time during their journey. That works in a very similar way. You would just look at those particular things and think, right, I'd like to look at the people who got to, actually let's look at the people who got to the thanks page and click on show. And that will take us through and show us information related to the people who got to the thanks page, what they came in from, keywords if they're identifiable, if that's relevant, and all the different ways that people can come into websites and look at things. We can get much more granular than that though. We can create advanced filters. So let's just go back to this advanced filters here. Let's look at a week view. And let's say we're interested in looking at the people whose first page was a particular page of the website. So I'm going to put something in here. I'm going to look at this one here. Just find the AIM page. There was no 625 somewhere here. That's the one I was looking at. That's the entry page. We can include that, add the filter, and we can show the data related to the people who landed on that page. This is no different to doing it the other way, except that we can then add more data on top. So let's say we're interested in the people who land on this page and who also got to the thank you page. So we say and, we say page visited, we put in the URL of the thank you page, which is that one. In fact, it could actually be any of these. We set that, we include it, add the filter, and we show the data. So this gives us insights into, in this case, the 39 people who landed on that page and got to thank you after that. So it might be straight after it, it could be having gone down another path, and it will show us how long people were on certain pages. But we could also do this the other way around. We could go back to the advanced filters and we can look at the people who landed on that page but who didn't get to the thank you pages. And we run that data because we want to look at the negative view of things to get more of a feel for these 283 visitors who landed there and went no further in many cases, or didn't get to the thank you page. Now we could take those 283 and look at how many of those got to only one page, and that will give us a number here, 187. So we know 187 people went no further than the landing page, and so we can we can think about that and try to understand what the issue might have been with that particular page. Put that filter back there. Now you can also look at things like UTM parameters. So if I just reset these filters and go back 7 days, let's say I'm interested in the people who came in from a particular campaign. So if you've got anything with UTM parameters in it, you can look up campaigns and mediums and sources. And let's say I want to look at this one. I'm going to include that and run the data. And at this stage, I'm just looking at everyone who came from that. So it's 551. Now, depending on the campaign and how it's set up, you will see keywords with Google Ads. In this case, this particular one hasn't got them set up in a way that could be identified, but that can be done. And it's just giving you an overall view of everyone who came in from that campaign. And you'll get an extra tab here, which actually pulls in the UTM data for that particular campaign. And you can look at that on any of these. It'll be the same each time in this case. You can go further than that. So we can now say, okay, we're interested of the people who came in from that campaign. Let's do a similar thing. Let's see how many of those people also got to a page called thanks, because we want to see what return we got from that. And it gives us the number of people that got to thanks and what source they came from. And if the keywords can be identified, which they can't in this way, but in other ways they can be. And you can go on further, you can go back to advanced filters and you can add other things in there as well. So you could be interested in particular countries, types of devices, lots of information, sources as well. You can go to a lot of level of depth. Something else we can do, we're back on the dashboard here, is we can pick certain date ranges and we can select things we're interested in. So if we're only interested, for example, in certain types of referrers, we can do that. If we just want people from Google pay-per-click, we can do that. At a very basic level, it will just give us everything without going into the detail of individual keywords and campaigns, etc. It just gives you an overall view that you can look at there. And all of these can be saved. So if we wanted to create a particular report, so let's say, for example, I want to create a report where the entry page is a particular page, first page visited, and I'm just going to find one of the things. There's this particular page is an entry page, and I want to see of the people who landed on that page, how many people also got to the thank you page. I'll add that filter. I can run that just to get the data. It tells me how many of those did that. I could refine it further. I could say, and came from Google Ads as well. There's lots of things that we can do. But then I might want to take that information and I want to save it as a template. So I go save as template, and I might call it landed on free quote, got to thanks, and save that. That creates a template here. And what you can do with that template is you can either manually run it in the future under any date range, or you can create an automated report and have that sent to any number of people, internally or externally, daily or weekly. And that will send an automated report based on the information that was set up with those parameters. So hopefully this gives you an indication of the sorts of things the system can do. It goes into lots of other things like referrers, say we're interested in Facebook, traffic generally, and what happened to, say, mobile Facebook traffic after they landed, just to get a feel for it. We might say, got 948 here. Let's look at how many people looked at least 3 pages. And it will give us a view here. And then we can refine that down to 2 pages. It's just giving us a feel for what's happening to things there. There are other filters available within here, as well as things like there's keywords. You can go to keywords, but you can get those from here as well. But yeah, there's a lot under the hood that can be played with and goes into a lot more depth than Google Analytics does.